So I'm chatting with Adele King, who's the junior school music teacher at Northside Christian College. We've just taken 107 students to the Snowy Mountains and to Smiggins and Perisher and Blue Cow. It's been beautiful. Firstly, give us a quick weather report. What was it like at the snow? How did you enjoy it?
Well, we had two really contrasting days. So the first day was windy and grey. On the chairlift, we were getting pelted with snow that was a little bit like small hail. So it was a little bit uncomfortable, but the conditions weren't so terrible that we had to get off the mountain. We continued on and the kids still had a good time. Day 2 was just perfect skiing conditions. We were super blessed and just had the best time. Tons of kids were just confident going on the chairlift even because the weather was so nice. It was quite comfortable on the chairlift, unlike the first day. And just great, beautiful blue skies, God's creation in all its splendour. Yeah.
And we actually prayed after the first night for good weather, and it was just an amazing answer to prayer, wasn't it?
It was, and it was. We were supposed to have that beautiful day was supposed to come the day after we'd been there, but we got it for our second day, so it was a real blessing. It was awesome.
One of the highlights for me was devotions with the kids each night. Tell us a bit about what that experience was like.
I really enjoyed the devotions with my group. We did it in the cabins, and so some of the girls just jumped into bed and other ones sort of snuggled up with them, and it was just a lovely time with the girls opening up. First night, I can't remember what that devotion was about. Forgotten. Second night was about your parents and being away from parents. And we were talking about really practical ways that we can show appreciation to our parents when we get back. And so hopefully some of the girls follow through with some of the ideas that we came up with. But
The first night there was a guest preacher, and everyone was falling asleep in the middle. Do you remember that?
Well, I actually wasn't in the room for the guest preacher, unfortunately, so I missed that.
And let's just talk a bit about music. So you're involved in the Northside Christian College and the different musical items and performances and things. Last year, I was so blessed with the big musical they did. Just trying to remember. Footloose, that's right. I'm trying to remember the name.
That was this year, actually.
This year. Yeah. Amazingly talented students, hey?
Yeah, super talented. Yeah, they were great and really dedicated. And actually what I could say, because I was involved in that, I was a stage manager, the thing that I really took away from that was that it was such a positive experience for everyone. And I never once heard teachers have to raise their voices to kids or be in any way kind of grumpy with kids. Of course, there was times they needed to be reminded and pulled into line occasionally, but the teachers did it in such a beautiful, gracious way. That they said in a meeting on day 1 of our first rehearsal, in this musical, there's no room for negativity, and that's exactly what we got. A really positive experience.
And I remember previous to that was Godspell, and I was surprised how much scripture was in Godspell. It's actually a great way to get into the Word, isn't it, watching Godspell?
Yeah, it is. And I wasn't involved in that one, but actually even with Footloose, there was still a really beautiful message of redemption, even though it wasn't actually a Christian musical. There was a lovely story through there, the story of the father and the daughter who weren't really getting along, but just how actually somebody else was able to point him to the father to the error of his ways. And make him realise that he had a change to make in his life to bring about the sort of bringing his family back together. Yeah.
Now, I remember interviewing a guy years ago named Bernard Hull, who was a well-known opera singer and a strong Christian. And I remember him sharing about how he tries to be a witness in that field. Yeah. And I've only just found out you're an opera singer as well. And Bernard, that's a coincidence too. Tell us a bit about your career.
Okay. Well, I moved to Queensland around 20 years ago. I just finished my undergrad in Tassie. I moved up here to do some postgrad study, and at the end of my postgrad year at the Queensland Conservatorium, I did that's when I started singing for Opera Queensland. I actually did a children's opera for a year, and I toured around Queensland schools. At the end of that year, I found once the opera was over, I really missed the children. I discovered that I actually quite like kids. Didn't realise before then, but so that's when I decided to become a teacher. But even through my education degree and my whole teaching career, I've continued working as a chorus member of Opera Queensland. I've performed between 1 and 3 contracts for them every year, and I'm just about to, I think next Saturday or something like that, I start my first rehearsal for my next show.
Which is?
Which is Orpheus and Eurydice. It's a Gluck opera, singing in Italian, and we're performing it. Opera Queensland is joining forces with Circa. It's a contemporary circus company to put on this show.
Oh. Do you want to belt out a few chords in the middle of the airport for me?
I don't really, because I've been shouting at kids in the snow, and you can probably hear I'm a little on the hoarse side, so it's probably wouldn't be my finest moment.
Oh, good. Now, before we wrap up, you know, on Vision Christian Radio, we play lots of good Christian music, lots of worship music, and I know you're involved in the chapel at Northside Christian College as well. I've spoken there a number of times. Tell us, what's your favourite kind of worship music lately that you love? Like, you know, what are the young people listening to at the school these days, you know?
Yeah. Oh, gosh. You know, because I work in the junior school, because part of my job is to choose music for our chapel services. I'm just really conscious of having kids singing music at chapel that's age appropriate, because I do find sometimes they might want to sing the kind of adult songs that they know from church, but I'm really conscious of them being aware of what they're singing about. And so I do like to choose music that often I'll turn to a source like Hillsong Kids or something like that just provides them, especially for the lower ages, provides them with something that is just more age appropriate, and they can understand the words that they're singing. That's important.
And you know, at Vision Radio we discovered Dan Warlow. He kind of released his first album. We had him in the studio, you know, and then we've had Sean W. Smith, Colin Buchanan. Isn't it amazing, all these amazing Christian kid singers, hey?
Yeah, fantastic. We've had Dan Warlow out to the school a couple of times, and when I talk about music that's age appropriate, he absolutely comes to mind. We use his songs all the time, especially for our lower grades. Really fantastic music. And of course Colin Buchanan, he's timeless. He's timeless.
Cool. Well, it's been great hanging out with you. Thanks for putting up with my dad jokes on the trip, and it's been great to see all the teachers